There are two kinds of people in this world. The people who fail to do what they know they should, and those who keep doing things they know they shouldn't. Guess what? You're both. Hi, I'm your host, life and business coach, Marcy Barker, aka your loving kick in the pants. In this podcast, I'll teach you the 6 steps of my accountability code that will help you wake up with clarity and show up with aligned action steps that make follow through easy and peaceful. All right, let's jump in. Welcome, my beautiful people, to your loving kick in the pants. I'm here with my beautiful client, Mary Jayne. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Tell us about yourself, your stage of life, all that good stuff.
All right. I'm a mother of 4, married, been married for 21 years. I'm a personal assistant and I do a lot of new stuff in my life. I love it. Love life. Love all the different stages. I don't know. Pretty generally happy. So good stage.
Good. That's nice to be generally happy.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you can't complain. How are you? Well,
happy.
I'm generally happy, so that's fine. Tell me how we became introduced.
Well, so my friend Erin told me that she really just loved and adored you and wanted to do the program. And she said she was trying it out and thought it would be fun to go together. So I signed up too, not having any idea what it was.
Yeah.
And thought, okay, probably something fitness related, generally what we get into. And it wasn't. It was something totally different. So That's good. It's a good thing.
What were you most surprised about, would you say, when it came to the whole topic of accountability and joining a program that was like, that's what it's about, being accountable? What did you assume you were going to be accountable for?
I assumed it was like checklists for work out X amount of days, like all the challenges that you kind of do. You do so many challenges with different people, with different friends, but it was surprising how personal it was, and how kind of deep we got. Like I felt like we got really deep in the first one.
Yeah, we definitely did.
And it was like, okay, I've never worked on myself on that level. I've never dove in that deep because you go in mom mode, and you go in work mode, and you even go in wife mode to an extent. I tell girls all this all the time. Like when you go on a vacation with a girl, you don't have to worry about anyone. When you go with your husband, you're worried about making your husband happy.
It's not a vacation. Sometimes.
It's great with I call it a vacation with your husband because it's still wonderful, but it's still not like stress-free entirely. You're still a little bit exhausted after because you're trying to make each other happy. When you go with kids, that's a trip. That's not even called a vacation. That's just called a trip, which is wonderful too. It has its own benefits. But when you go alone or when you go with girls, you know that you don't have to take care of them because that's almost bizarre thought because we all take care of each other or ourselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This was kind of a deep self-care journey and it was awesome.
I loved our calls. When I do client calls for you listeners who haven't experienced it yet, we go through the accountability code, which is a 6-step process that helps you become super aligned in your mind and your body so that follow through becomes easy and peaceful. So me as a coach, I'm trying to get the necessary pieces out of my client so I can say, what do we do now? Because it's cool to talk and vent. And our conversations were good, but I was like, oh, time's up. But now the time is up because it's time to work. So what were some of the things that the accountability code revealed for you that really made a difference in your life?
Well, so my husband is wonderful. He's an amazing man. He's an amazing worker. He's very analytical mind, very, this is the way it is, kind of black and white. And I kind of walk on eggshells a little bit sometimes around him, even though I probably don't need to, but you worry so much. And then there's little things that kind of trigger you that go, okay, no, that didn't make him happy. So I can't do that. Or just, we kind of all fall into that. And I think this most helped me to kind of figure out that I can do what I want. And it's okay for him not to be happy with it. And I'm not making him mad or anything. I'm sure it's hard for him to see some growth in areas because it's hard for all couples to kind of navigate that. But it helped me to figure out that I can do stuff and it can be just for me and it's not for someone else. And I can do stuff that other people don't agree with because I can do stuff that makes me happy without worrying about how he feels about it. Like, for instance, he had a hard time with me going to the gym without him. That was hard, but he likes to go really late at night and I like to go early in the morning. So I'd almost like sneak to the gym And I'd get there and we'd be on our little morning calls and I'd have to sit out in the parking lot until those morning calls were over because I didn't want to hurt his feelings that I was going to the gym.
Mhm.
However, I know he wants me to go to the gym and he wants me to be healthy and he wants me to be happy and he wants me to be fit, but he wants to do it with me. And I'm like, hey, but it doesn't work for me and I needed to do it. And I'm not naturally thin. Although his family might be,
Yeah.
I do not have that genetic capability. My family all had gastric bypass, like all of them, my grandparents, my parents, and we struggle. So I'm going to do everything I can to not have to get that surgery. And so I'd wait and then I'd go in and sometimes I'd call in the middle and be like, oh no, but I'm not going to ignore his call. So I'd answer and I'd be like, where are you at?
Mm.
Well, I'm at the gym. What? You went to the gym? And then he'd get in kind of his competitive mode. And I didn't want to compete with him. I'm like, okay, well, let's do this, and it would be a whole, like, I don't want to go on a challenge. I don't want to, like, I'm happy with you going. I'll go with you if you want, but I need to do it for me on this time. And sometimes I need to get the kids in bed and spend time with them at night. And that's my time with them. And that's hard. So this kind of was like, I have gotten to the point where I can go to the gym and be like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going. No, I'm doing this. Yeah, no, I'm here. And I know that he looks at me and when he sees me doing an arm workout, he'll be like, oh, I don't like the arm muscles. Like that's gross on a girl.
I remember this conversation.
Yes.
And because my husband, his name is Aubrey, had made the comment to me one time, like, I don't want you to get too muscular. And I was like, last time I checked, my body was mine. And like, what are you going to do about it? Like, nobody goes to the gym and accidentally gets more muscular. So I loved that our conversations were really focused on how do we make Mary Jayne the best version of Mary Jayne and be okay with it, because a lot of it was stripping back the judgments and the expectations that other people have for us, even if we know they love us. It doesn't mean that their values become our entire life. And it doesn't mean we have to do what they say, because that ultimately takes away who we are. Hey listeners, the message of waking up and showing up is yours for the taking. In fact, it's free. I've recorded my entire audiobook and I'd love for you to consume it between episodes. Head to marcybarker.com to get instant access to the accountability code Wake Up and Show Up. All right, let's jump back in. What would you say was a wake up and show up moment for you where you were like, I'm a better version, or I'm a different version, and this is something I would like to embrace?
Oh, what was the one I told you the other day where I was proud of myself because I just walked away? He was just like really nitpicking things. And I was like, no, I don't need to be in this space right now. And I can just walk away. And I mean, I really hate the idea of talking negative because he's so amazing. He really is. And he dotes on me and he's just such an amazing guy. But we are different people.
Mm-hmm.
And he has his beautiful talents and he's brilliant. And I have my talents where I love people and I'm not very aggressive or conflicting, and he loves some aggression.
Yeah.
He'd be an amazing politician because he's so level-headed and brilliant, but I would be a good therapist probably. Like these are the differences.
Yeah.
So I really hate the idea that it would be like hurt his feelings to ever hear it, but at the same time, like sometimes it's okay that I don't need to be in that negative space.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's okay that I can be a different person. And sometimes it's okay that we're not on the same page about an idea. And I love that I can not only know that, which we know, but implement it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it part of your life. And it feels more confident. It feels happier.
Yeah. And it takes practice. It takes consistency. It takes testing and experimenting, because I remember, I think it was one of our first calls. We set up an affirmation that was like, I'm free to do what I want and you're free to do what you want. And I think that was one of the first defining moments of like, Mary Jayne, I'm not coaching your husband and I'm not a marriage counselor. And like, we're not here to do couples therapy, but there is a reason why you're drawn to being more accountable for your own purposes and for your own happiness and ultimately more direction, because that's how we become happy, when we know we're on the right path, because it's not fun to to keep going down the wrong path.
Right.
So, what would you say your loving kick in the pants felt like? Where was a time when you're like, Marcy's kind of bothering me right now with what she's telling me to do?
Oh, you know these ones.
Because we've had a few. Yes, a few. We've had a few. So which one would you say you're comfortable sharing that would benefit other people?
The first one, which is a little bit more trivial, was we're figuring out my why, right? And I'm looking at okay, I want to run 3 miles straight, like, because I just don't have I'm endowed. I'm an endowed woman. Running is not.
If you ever hear Mary Jayne talk crap on herself, slap her in her face because she is
Lots
gorgeous.
of people appreciate that I'm endowed.
Well, I wouldn't mind a handful or two.
But running is not the talent that's going to happen.
Yeah, so Mary Jayne tells me, I want to run a mile. And there's a lesson that I teach in one of my programs called Y times 5. And I was like, hey, Mary Jayne, we're going to go through this. So let's see if we can mock it up like we did. All right, okay, so you're like, okay, Mary Jayne, what's your fitness goal right now?
Like, I want to run 3 miles straight and not without stopping.
I was like, okay, why? Why do you want to run without stopping?
So because I think it's it's a really cool goal that a lot of people get. And I think it would feel really beneficiary to hit that goal, like to have that achievement.
So why aren't you doing it now? I think you said your knees hurt. Your knees. Yeah. Did you say something about your knees?
Yeah, I'd say, well, I get a little bit asthmatic. My knees would hurt. Yeah, my body would hurt. And I don't love running.
So I was like, why do you want to run?
Yes. Why are you wanting to run?
So I asked, what are some forms of exercise that you would enjoy?
I said, well, I really enjoy water. So I enjoy paddleboarding. I enjoy swimming. I enjoy kayaking. I enjoy dancing. I enjoy movement. And your answer was, okay, so let's change the goal.
Like, let's not try to run. And don't you think you could be more successful? Yeah.
So we created a goal to dance every day.
And you did.
And I did.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
And got your kids involved. And
we had questions. So. Did you dance today? And did you do something physical that you enjoyed?
Yes. Which makes all the difference in a program, whether you join a program for fitness, for relationships, for whatever. It has to be enjoyable for you to repeat it often, because our brain is wired for 3 things: to feel pleasure, to avoid pain, and conserve energy. So I was like, if you can do something you love, like, let's do that and let's forget about freaking running for miles. So you say that was a trivial one.
That was a trivial one.
Let's get into one that you're like, because this is what I love. I wouldn't work with clients. I tell people the only thing that you have to have for the accountability code to work is honesty. And so there were times where I'd have to ask you permission, like, can I say what I'm feeling?
Have some a little bit brutal honesty,
Yeah. So what was another thing that was a little bit that took some reflection and some acceptance?
The 75 hard. I was doing the 75 hard, and I was doing a journaling group, and I was in these groups, and I was kind of, I was doing good in these groups, and I'm like, I'm excited about this. I'm feeling this. She's like, no, I don't want you to do it. You need to quit. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I don't want to quit. No, I could do this, Marcy. And you're like, okay, I get it. You're an extreme person, and you kind of just go in, but you're doing this to help other people in the group. And I was 100%. I was, but I didn't want to say that either. And you're like, you're doing this for the group, and we need to do something deeper for you. We need to go deeper. Yeah. And I was like, what? Yeah. Kind of like you were calling me out, like saying, hey, what you're doing. And I'm like, but I want to do this. And you're like, you can do whatever you want, but I really don't want you to. And I think you need to quit. And you were blunt about it.
And it was funny because, we get on our next client call and I'm like, what are your successes? And she's like, well, I quit 75 hard for you. And I was like, you did not quit it for me. You quit it for you. So
I probably would have stayed in it, but I quit it because I did. You were right. You said I needed to go deeper and I needed to make goals that aligned with what I really need to work on. And that wasn't necessarily something I needed to work on. I had pretty good, I'm still going to the gym every day. It wasn't like a super hard change in my life. Mm-hmm. I could go to the gym. I could hop in the swim spa there at 45. Taking a picture, gross, but whatever, that's fine. But like, it wasn't deep. It was a shallow goal. And I needed a deeper goal. And then And going deep is hard.
Yes.
Going deep in your own reflection and your own life is actually hard. And a lot of times it doesn't feel possible without some direction because you get really lost in it. So I don't
Mm,
know. We found
yeah.
some good stuff there.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's not easy to go deep, but when you are surrounded by a safe place,
Mhm.
it makes it a little bit easier. For our listeners, what would you say your loving kick in the pants looked like? Like, what was it when we were off the phone that got you to take action?
I think mine was you know, we talked a lot about spiritually going deep. And so mine was a lot of prayer and reflection and realizing that my cares needed to be some hard stuff. I needed to I needed to have some brutal honesty with people in my life. That's wicked hard, especially because you love people and you really don't want to hurt them.
Mhm.
And so to have that kind of kick where you have to step it up and you have to hop in that fire and you got to sit in there and it sucks and do hard things. And honestly, you got to kind of get comfortable with hard things
Mhm.
because it's going to happen and it's going to get harder. And so that loving kick in the pants for myself was that was the brutal honesty that I needed to be brutally honest. And I'm still going through that too because I'm still not
It takes
quite
yeah.
that.
It
Yeah.
takes practice. It honestly
Getting
takes
brutal is a
practice.
little hard when you're not a brutal
And
person.
even if you mentally or emotionally are converted to something, it takes a long time for your body to catch up, your relationships
Yeah.
to catch up, your environment to catch up, and they might not even ever catch up, but there needs to be some adjustment that happens there. So I loved going deep with you
Mm.
because I don't do
I
superficial.
didn't always love going deep.
Well,
And it was hard.
this is your second program with me. So I am grateful that we
Yeah.
were able to continue the progression because there were times where like, okay, we're working on a different goal. We're working on a
Yeah.
different goal. And it took a
Well,
little while to really get to the deeper meaning because
yeah.
for listeners, the accountability code is a 6-step process, but the 5th step is commitment. And we talk
Yeah.
about like what are the things that are worth your time and your energy
Yeah.
and your heart.
Yeah. Well, and I'm always genuine. I always have been. I'm good at going deep with other people with their deep,
Yes.
but I am not good at going with my own deep. There's a difference. There's a big difference in when you have to go through your own and you start to do it. It's hard. It's actually and it's not comfortable.
Yes.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel natural
Yeah.
at first, like, okay, no, it's because I mean, I've gone deep with other people for so many things. My daughter jokes about it, like, Mom, well, you know everything about my friend, and I had no idea any of that,
Yeah.
and they'll all come to me, and I'm mom to so many, but I haven't been mom to myself a little bit.
Hmm. What advice would you give to the listeners for improving their accountability in a deep way?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question.
What's something
I
you've done
think
that has helped you do that?
I think being brutally honest with yourself is that loving kick in the pants, which is what we kind of title it in our call.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is a kick in the pants. No, this is a loving kick in the
Yeah.
pants. That if you're going through something, you need to sit in it. You need to figure it out. You need to research it. And you might not have all the answers now, so get them and do it. Don't sit on your butt. Don't switch the topic. Don't think it's hard, so shift to something that's more comfortable.
Mm.
Get in the uncomfortable, do the work, and study. If you don't, I mean, one of my goals is even to get some focus. That's a hard goal. How the heck do you get some memory and focus when you can't remember and focus?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Like, that's a hard one.
We talked about that too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But learn how to. Start
Yeah.
researching and figure it out instead of just being like, nope, that's the way I am.
Yeah.
A lot of us do that.
Yeah.
We just kind of go, nope, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's not. It doesn't have to be.
So get into spaces where you have support.
Yeah.
You have the right kick, the right goals, the ability to go deep. Lastly, would you say there's a story in the book that resonated with you that maybe listeners should check out?
So we had kind of talked about this before, and I couldn't think of something in particular. I think you had a dream. It's the one that, I mean, is just coming in my head right now, but where you just wanted to jump. Was it?
Yeah, I had a dream that I committed suicide.
Yeah. And it's like the whole weight of the world does resonate, where you just get in that kind of darker space. For me, I think you get in that more, loathing space, and you start to spiral at how much you don't like you. And none of it's true. All these stupid things that you say to yourself, and you don't have to say any of it to yourself to go deep, to be better. But we do, and then we just stunt all of our growth with it. But you, in your dream, Aubrey kind of pulled you back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Tell a little bit more about your dream.
Yeah, I liked it and I didn't like it because I was like, he's saving me, but he's the one that made me want to do this. And so there's a lot of power in recognizing what you need to do. And, I had that dream for a reason. I know I did. And I won't spoil it all. I have, you guys can get my audiobook and it's all in there, but I want to appreciate you and celebrate you for being honest and vulnerable and deep, because that's really the only place where meaningful change happens. So give yourself a pat on the back. You're awesome. Yeah, we're going deeper.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
I love you,
Marcy. I love you too.
Hey friends, I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. If you got any value out of this episode, I would love for you to drop me a review or share with a friend what you learned. All right, I'll see you next Wednesday for Your Loving Kick in the Pants.